Good evening.
Good evening.
How is everybody?
Doing good.
I'll take
Sleepy.
the
Yeah.
there you go, sleepy Pete.
I overate. I overate for dinner, and I'm sleepy as heck.
No, mate.
Now, whose fault is that?
Don't
Tell
ask
me.
him that. He'll somehow
Your
blame
fault,
me.
Lala. Your fault, Lala.
See, he blamed me, not you. It's always me now. As you can tell, he's anything to do with reporting to HRC.
XP.
Yeah, we got buried.
Outside the house. Oh
Damn, son.
shit!
Wow. What of you?
Yeah, the dogs aren't happy when they got to go out and that.
Lots to update on. Luke is actually in flight, so he won't be able to give you his regular update. But maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll put you on the spot, UrbanGecko. Do you want to give a? Do you want to start by giving a little bit of a rundown of what is happening your side?
I can do that. There may be a bit of overlap from last week because I wasn't here for that one. I was still on leave. For the Vault side of things, we busy working on pets, lots and lots of stuff relating to pets. I don't know how much I'm allowed to spoil of that from Pete's side of things, so he can touch on that part later. But from a Fox side and an RFOX side and a Vault side, we've got some stuff coming for, let's just say, citizens and then your average daily users. So there's going to be some information coming on that stuff soon. Then we're also still working on some bugs and things that we've got in the current build so that we can get that one out to you guys public. We're busy testing it internally and ironing out all of those things. And we're working on some leaderboard stuff for, I don't know, Benny, did you guys mention the other item that is public or going to be public in chess?
I don't know what's public and what's not half the time.
I like how you're just
Alright.
trying to figure it out. It's not yet public, but if you accidentally say it here, then I guess it's going to be semi-public. Like we haven't said anything.
Oh, yeah.
Not to the public.
So obviously, we're really starting to get into the whole user experience, the user journey, and creating that kind of ecosystem and an environment for people to grow in the Vault. And one aspect of that is obviously with the law, you've all, or most of you would have heard about the light. So that is going to manifest in a physical form of plasma, which is something that people should start collecting or gaining, which will be in some chests. So I'm not going to say what you're going to get with it or what it's going to do, but that's what I'll say about that. And then, yeah, we're working on the Avaturn integration. I heard Luke showed a sneak peek of that last week, which we're all testing in the Vault at the moment. We're just trying to get that running nice and smoothly for everybody. And then we can go live and have that available for all of you to also use the Avaturn avatar system, which is actually really hilarious when you get to see people more realistically in the Vault. It's actually a strange thing for me. And then in terms of the creator economy side of things and what's busy going on there, we busy wrapping everything up and starting to get it ready so that the creators will be able to start doing more interactive stuff, interactions like triggering events and doing things like that. So we're busy taking all the interactions we have in the Vault and we are prioritizing them to be wrapped up into obviously quite a technical thing, but then the users and creators were able to start using the same kind of things and creating the same kind of interactions and things, of which I'm sure Second City is excited for. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. Red Bull, I don't know if you want to add anything from your side.
I think you covered it pretty well. One more, I don't know if you covered the web views, that's something that's coming that we're testing as well. So we can have a couple of more games in there and events like streaming and stuff like that. And one thing I was working on is a referral system. So basically you can earn by referring people to the Vault, and the referee needs to do some actions in the Vaults to gain the reward. So that should drive engagement and user growth. Yeah, I think
that
we covered it pretty well.
Yeah, that actions aspect is actually quite a big one for us on the back end of things, because we're putting triggers and events on the different items in the Vault. So that can be anything from jumping to interacting with another person or AI or winning a game of fear. And the whole ecosystem and the way that you're going to be, it's not rewarding is not the right way, but the way you'll level up around that stuff is something we can start experimenting with, and it's going to also help us a lot with ideas for marketing and collaborations and things like that. We're really trying to get the Vault into an environment where it's something that people want to be in and it's fun to be in and there's things to do, because I'm sure as you're all aware, when you go in there at the moment, it can be a bit bare bone. And that's something we're trying to make more incentivized for people to actually want to be in there, because a space that no one wants to be in is not going to do anyone any good.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Pete, what about your side? Anything from your side that you want to add?
I mean, since Gecko touched about the pets crafting should go live pretty soon, but just keep watching out for the announcements that I think Lala would make. We're ready with the pet crafting piece. We just need to get the comms done and then share it out with everyone. I mean, it's already in testing right now, so you can actually craft your pets, and then after you craft your pets, shortly after that, you should be able to use it in the vault. And this will be the NFT pets, so pets that are not readily available to, anyone who's not part of the KOGs community, because you need to have the KOGs tubes to be able to craft those pets. But I will let Lala announce that officially. This is just like sneak preview.
Phil, have you ever, or have you shown any of the more recent stuff? Do you want to? Can you?
What you mean the pets?
Yeah.
No, I haven't shown the more recent stuff, but unfortunately, I'm on mobile. And
yeah, good excuse, Phil.
Yeah. Well, Luke's away. It doesn't happen often.
Lala, can you show?
I'm like multitasking. I'm like looking at it now. Let me find it. Let me dig something out.
Okay.
in the meantime, I guess I can share what we're doing with Quest. So first we launched on Tuesday the Dragon Rush event. So now Quest players can win non-common KOGs. So Pete, what happened was Pete broke open the packs and made those KOGs available for reward. Last week we were testing Android for the next build, and this week we are testing iOS. We found some bugs that we need to squash, but a new release is on the horizon, and we'll let you know as soon as that's finished. Just to repeat kind of on last week what those what the fixes are anyway. We fixed the last move bug. XP would be happy to know that the optimization includes the memory optimization. So we dropped down the RAM consumption by more than half. So older devices should be able to play it now. We fixed the what do you call it? The out of memory error that people were getting when receiving a non-standard reward. So that shouldn't happen anymore. The client should not be unresponsive when you receive a pack or a promo KOG. And then a bunch of small other things that will really make the game run much smoother. We also have included push notifications for when your life tokens or daily rewards are available. And there are now announcements, so we'll be able to keep you better informed within the game. That's all I can actually remember right now, but there's a whole, it's a really long list of fixes that you will definitely notice once that's available. Any luck, Lala?
Yeah, I just have the I seem to have only the common ones. Don't have the latest ones that you just showed in the video.
I'll go to my computer and I'll come back and try to pull something up.
Okay, so Lala, would you mind, as always, reading the questions?
No worries. So we got quite a list of questions today. I think in total we have 7 questions to go through. So if anybody wants to see the full list of questions, it is on main chat, but I will read out the first question so we can get things started. Question 1. This is from, I believe, one of our community members. I think I saw a long time ago that RFOX will serve as the middleman between creators and Vault owners and help them connect. I think devs need more info on this. I'm a Unity dev and cannot tell the risk and reward, which is important when cost of entry is a minimum 38K USD, cost of a shop ETH to USD. It makes me not want to try at all, especially because it's such a low cap coin, a low guarantee of success. Like even if someone rent me a vault for free, I don't know if I would do it right now. So clarification on how RFOX would handle the connection would be nice. If C11 is a way to connect potential devs to the vault owners, then good. But that's not their job. Showcase is also a direct way to handle connection. Would be nice too. So RFOX doesn't come CCP through. If it makes me lots of money, then it's fine.
The middleman the middleman thing, not quite sure what they meant by that, but ultimately, if they were talking about offering their services as a developer and having us put them into touch with companies that were looking at building, that would make sense. But then I think that they went on to sort of say that if they were looking at deploying capital to develop in a space, which they don't need to, as we know, that what would be the return on and risk and reward and all the rest of it. I think ultimately, I'd need a little bit more context on that one, but ultimately the C11 could, of course, that is a potential gateway, but ultimately there will be lots of people who want pieces built or rooms off of their independent spaces. There'll be lots of different calls for these types of things, but without the context, it's pretty hard to give a specific answer. I went through that one earlier with Luke, and he was also a little head scratching, sort of saying not sure what they mean by the first and the second part of the question. But as we know, you don't have to make that investment if you don't want to buy a district. You can always work with other people. If you're looking at working for people that have those spaces, then that is a request that we have had previously. And if you do know how to develop in Unity, then obviously that's going to become a lot easier as we put out more polished APIs and we put out better developer tools.
All right. So
Okay.
question number 2. I still need an explanation on why all these products are being made with no relevance to the vault. They are probably relevant, but I don't understand. The only reason I can think of is MVP example for future devs, but the amount of time they spent is too much for it to be simply MVP for some projects. And they have a lot of these too. It better be a good reason or they're just burning some money.
The stuff that's in the vault has been either acquired or developed without any dependency on or spend of. So some of those examples of like Fear and the arcade and all the rest of it, those things have been built as examples. One of them was supposed to be obviously a game, and we've sort of taken that over. But ultimately, we have always stated since day one that we will never build the best of anything, that we only aim to provide examples. We don't go out and spend a huge amount of development budget or development budget at all. That's all been bootstrapped, or we've put money external into that to build those showcases. But ultimately, our focus is on building the platform and the tools and to get those developers in. But we certainly have, if anything does come up or we want to do something like chess and the arcade and all the rest of it, that's been independently purchased out of our own funds. So we, again, are focused on the platform. And again, Micah mentioned in the beginning of this call, he said when you come in, sometimes there's not a lot to do. We get conflicting stuff. You know, we need more stuff in there. Why don't you use the tools to build something out so there's something for us to do? And a lot of what we do, if it's simple, we'll add something to a feature or a tool to show that it's actually there, versus we don't actually go and say, look, let's stop production on the platform and go and build something completely skew if or off to the side. And if we do need extra resources to be able to build something or deploy something, as an example, then we would hire those from outside development agencies, which is what we've done. So yeah, you're sort of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If you have nothing, then nobody's got anything to see. If you do something, then people assume that it's frivolous spending or wasting of money or whatever. But ultimately, we have to give some sort of demonstration or showcase as to how things work. And again, if people come in and build something that we can highlight or use, we're happy to do that and happy to point people to what people have contributed to the Vault.
Alrighty, question number 3 is a more marketing thing, so I may take some of this as well. Question 3: a lot of the way the communication is done can change. Why have RFOX YouTube channel and RFOX Vault YouTube channel? What happened to RFOX Medium? Just abandoned after early 2023, but not deleted. Why have AMA Notes channel that it's not updated? Same with Vault update log. Probably other channels might be obstacles too. Needs communication, centralization communication. It's not cryptocurrency, so centralization is not bad. I watch the RFOX AMA sometimes, and that's really the source of news. Also, I remember I confused SDKs existence because the roadmap said it's still in development, probably others like me as well. So I'm just going to take the comm side of things, and this is something that a few of the community members have actively reached out to us and also to me on moving forward, how we're going to be doing these AMAs, because Atish has been a gem for us and has been posting a lot of the AMAs that we've done. But in 2024, we may be changing the direction and going into more little snippets and little more updates on development, as well as examples of what's happening in the Vault, because that proved to be a bit more beneficial for everybody. Apart from that, there have been people who want us to do more AMAs within the Vault and in the Vault, which we did, if anyone recalls, last year in December. Ben was in there, and we had quite a number of people on mobile as well as on VR. So we are looking into this. It's still very much early in the year, but the marketing team and the comms team will definitely update on what is the direction moving forward for this one.
Yeah, so I think you've summed up the answer to a lot of that. I noticed that there was comments in relation to MyMedia and users and languages and all the rest of it. That, you know, obviously Myanmar went through a military coup. It's picking back up in businesses. It's doing well as far as clients are concerned. That's still an avenue and a resource for us, of course, and it does have an active and engaged audience, and that's something that we can continue to pursue. I think we've had several times. I'm sure this is the exact same person as last time, but because they came in and said that there wasn't anything with the Burmese language on the site, on the actual MyMedia, of course, it is in Burmese in Burma. But outside of that, as we're trying to get a wider audience or to try and expand, of course, that language set is opened up. So, I think you've covered the rest, Lala.
Sweet. All right. So question number 4: how many people are working in RFOX now, and how many people work for only Vault stuff? This needs to have more transparency on inner workings. Like if they are a private company, they do not have to honor RFOX as their cryptocurrency. They can just make their Metaverse, relabel it with a different coin and run. They probably won't do that. I just want to know more about RFOX as a company anyways.
We do a number of different things. So we've got core staff, and we also have external providers. Those providers have ramped up because we have different phases of the builds that we go through. So we use multiple agencies as well that provide specific types of services, and it is important that we also have that blend, because if you've got core staff, and they're only utilized for small periods or for bits of builds, or they have a specific expertise, it doesn't make sense to have people sitting around twiddling their thumbs all the time. But also when you get to the stage that we're at and building a platform, it's also very important that you have different people contributing to different pieces, because you don't really like to have external parties having a complete map of how everything works. It's good to do their piece and to bring their expertise in. So the number of staff that we have fluctuates up and down. I think we've given updates over the course of the last a couple of years, and we've hovered around that 40 or so internal core staff, plus all of our external contractors as well. And again, that can ramp up and down depending on what specific skill set or requirements are needed. So that fluctuates. As far as the internal workings or how many people are working on the Vault is actually the main app of the platform. So ultimately, everybody touches the Vault in some way, shape, form, or capacity. And also the external resources that we utilize are effectively building something that will eventually plug in or integrate into the Vault as well. So there's a lot of people working on the Vault. That's the core focus. But ultimately, as we go to putting out public APIs and SDKs, then the focus will be definitely on the engine room and the tools and the things that make up the APIs and SDKs that are there for public access and use.
All right, question number 5. I think this was about MyMedia that you mentioned earlier. Where did the 13 million people from MyMedia go? No presence in RFOX. I'm afraid RFOX bought 13 million bots. The language section doesn't even have Myanmar or Burmese on it.
So the again, I've answered that one in the sense that we obviously went through a military coup there. They still have a huge amount of users. They still are publishing, they're still working, they're still using. And again, the Burmese side of things would be seen in Burma. Outside of Burma, we're obviously trying to cater to a wider audience and a wider reach. So having Burmese to people viewing from places external to Burma makes little to no sense, considering it's a localized language. But that business is one of the few in that field or type that actually continue to consistently work through the coup. So a lot of the competitors to MyMedia sort of dissipated or disbanded during the coup. So it was really good to hold that together and to keep that going. But ultimately, the users are still active and they're still publishing regularly multiple times a day. So nothing's changed as far as that's concerned.
All right, the next question. What happens if the district or shop owner loses the Vault key? Are they going to make a new NFT? I think if the answers are good, I would be positive about RFOX currently being neutral.
So we've always said that that people's NFTs, much as the same way as any other assets, are their responsibility. It's your responsibility. It's your crypto. It's your keys, and it's your responsibility to take care of that NFT just as you would any token or anything else that you're allocated. So we've written that in the terms and conditions and we've talked about that since day one, saying it is your responsibility to make sure that you do not lose that and that you're safely storing that. That is your responsibility.
Alrighty, final question from this week's main chat. Being that RFOX tools building is coming to an end, I wonder how will you promote the tools during this bull run? In the past, you used different methods, having an inside RFOX marketing manager, hiring outside marketing agencies, paid promotion, etc. Can you share some details of marketing in the next 12 months? Will there be a single campaign for all parties or one for professional creators and a different one for private users?
Yeah. So that's a good question. So when we were talking about, or when you say tools coming to an end, the tools won't come to an end. What it will be is a matter of us having a robust platform and a rolled up API that is robust and public. We'll always be adding tools, and people will be adding tools and building and adding to the platform as we go. So when we talk about if we ever use it in wording to say our focus or goal is to finish this piece, we, of course, with the SDKs and APIs, they will be a first version and a first public and first robust version, which will always scale and be required to scale as we build and extend and expand. So I think that the main transition this year will be to us focusing more on the marketing, education, expansion and scaling, and making sure that we are getting other people to come and do a lot of the content creation and the building as they go. So that's the main difference, is that you'll see a changing of the guard, but ultimately those the tools that we offer and have will never be finished. It'll just be the first version of things that are finished.
All right, I think we cleared the ones that were on Bean Chat. I'm not sure whether you got any DMs, Ben. I'll check mine whether they have any.
Yeah, so I did get a couple. I got one saying, how is this year going to be different to any other? Coming into a bull run, does it change your strategy or your focus? Again, we are very much focused this year on that transition across to us saying, look, we've got that stable platform, and we want to onboard as many creators as we possibly can and get people building. So that transition will happen this year, and that is something that we'd be very much focused on. We realised that coming into the bull run, it's going to be hard to get attention, as it always is. And we know full well that the bear markets are for building and for producing, and we did that. We worked diligently. I think we've got enough of a solid track record now to show that we deliver and we're building and we're continually improving. And now it's a matter of getting the hard work that we've done in front of people, and so that people can actually see what it is that we've actually done. And those people can then, make the decision to come and partner with or build in our ecosystem. They also asked, when looking at partners, how do you gauge whether a person would be a good party or partner to work with? It's a very good question, and we get asked that a lot. We can't vouch for anybody who's not us, right? We don't know what people will do. We don't know how people will, what tenacity they have, what resilience they have, whether they'll stick at things. We've seen a number of projects over the course of the last 5 years that have probably started with very good intent, have tried, and then if any of you have ever been involved in a project or tried, you'll realise it's much, much harder than people think it is. It's a difficult space to navigate and to work in, and you've got lots of scammers, and you've got lots of competitors that'll pop up and try and make your life hell with public noise and all the rest of it. But the thing is, we don't know whether people have a weak appetite or a strong appetite. And I've sat personally with projects who have great intention, great ideas, and look like they've got great motivation. And comes into a bull run, they get a bit of a sniff of success, and then they just lose the appetite, or they're building through a long sustained bear market and they lose the appetite. So for us, we of course would like to have a very high benchmark of partners or people that we work with, but ultimately it is one of those things that you have to continually reassess, because that changes month to month and week to week. So all we can do, and it doesn't matter whether we who we're working with, it's a matter of we'd like high quality projects to build. In the Vault, we'd like to work with great developers and passionate developers, but it's extremely difficult for us to actually put weight behind endorsing projects or groups, because you don't know, as I say, how they're going to change. All we can say is that we'll do our best to help give exposure where we can for projects that are building, deploying, or showing an interest in our environment and our platform. And that's what's really, really important going forwards, is especially when we're trying to grow and scale. And then the last one that I got was, you've hinted that there's lots of positive news to come. Can you share anything with us? We used to get good alpha here. Yeah, so we're working on a series of announcements now. As I say, it will all be based around the fact that we've worked pretty hard. We've put ourselves in a good position, and the platform that we have, we've built in a very modular way, which allows plenty of opportunities to open up to us and for us. So that's something that we should all be very excited about. I think a lot of people don't realize what we have. And I'm not talking about you guys who follow the project regularly, but some of you also would not know the full spectrum or gamut of what we have. So being able to sort of showcase how quickly we can adapt or work with or add certain elements, features and things is pretty exciting. And we have an opportunity to showcase that. And in relation to exciting things that are happening that we'll talk about, there's some very, very key structural changes that sort of highlight and typify the maturity of the project and where it's at, and the fact that it doesn't need to be a group of us calling all the shots, making all the decisions in things, and trying to juggle all the balls ourselves. We've got a very, very good opportunity right in front of us that we'll share with you shortly to ensure increased participation and wider participation from the community and the audience, and the opportunity to make that audience a lot larger and wider. So yeah, it's pretty damn exciting, and we're just working on putting all of that stuff together so that we can talk to you formally about what those next steps are. As you know, we've always tried to put out roadmaps. Hitting those had always been difficult, but we've gotten good at that in the last year or 18 months. And there's a reason that we've sort of held back on some of this stuff that we're about to talk to you about, because it is significant and it is big, and it's a sign of the maturity of the project and where we're at now. So yeah, we're extremely excited for this year and the coming years, and we'll share that as soon as we as soon as we physically can.
I think we have one question from Atish as well. What's the WUFFI partnership about?
So again, we can't endorse or sort of get behind anybody with any weight. It's just a matter of us being able to highlight if people take interest. The WUFFI project is, and you guys know, being in this channel, it's impossible these days to tell what's going to do well and what's not going to do well. But it looks like it's very well connected to the broader WAX ecosystem, and KOGs will feature very heavily in some of this news and information that we'll talk to you about. And the initial impression that we get with WUFFI is that they're looking to work with, partner, collaborate with, and get as much exposure as possible for all of the projects that are currently on WAX or are looking to build on WAX. So I think at this stage it's very, very early, and it's too early to tell what that capacity will take on. But I know that they have shown an interest in KOGs, in connecting some of the games, which is something that KOGs is always looking for more games, but connecting those communities and games across their WAX ecosystem. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. But again, I'm going to make sure we've got very strong caveats moving forwards on everything, and that is that we don't know how projects will perform or do. All we can say is that if they've shown an interest in our ecosystem, but they've also shown an interest as well as the wider WAX community in the Vault as well. So there's lots of potential to do and to have a broader WAX community in the Vault, which is something that would be awesome to have. The sheer volume and number of users that they have, giving the Vault some attention and looking at ways to deploy and build in the Vault. So yes, don't know how the project will perform, So it's obviously memey in its nature, so we'll just have to wait and see. But again, if anyone's interested in our ecosystem environment or value adds, then that's something that we would highlight.
I think we have a few more. We still have some time, so I'm going to read that out for you, Ben.
Sure.
Atish was asking, with the Burmese base of RFOX, could you see and encourage Burmese RFOX people to the RFOX Discord, setting out a Burmese channel in the RFOX Global Access? Personally, I think I'll answer this as well, because I'm not sure whether everybody knows, but we are reviewing right now the channels in our Discord. The reason being is that we also need to think of the perspective of new users coming in. We are definitely going to be streamlining this in the coming weeks in our Discord channel. So I think most likely we'll figure out a way to overlap a few of the different languages. But again, it's going to be very complicated if there's no one from the team that will really be attending to those questions, because in the past it's happened before where, they'll ask a question and no one attends to them, and it's just not a good look for us. So we'll update as time comes for the Discord side of things.
To your point, Lala, I think part of what we'll talk to you about is as this ecosystem gets bigger and as we really put the foot down and expand, it'll be beyond our capabilities to be able to be across absolutely everything as well. And that's not supposed to be the case. We're not supposed to be, the only people attending to this ecosystem. So as you'll see in the coming weeks, we're really thinking about the longer term plan and the wider arching plan on how we transition a lot of the how do I say it without saying it? A lot of the load across to the wider community and giving people an opportunity to step up, contribute more, and to add value, because it should never be the case that everybody is reliant on a group of people or a small party of people to provide the value. It should be, and you guys have always, especially those who attend the Discord sessions and are active in the social channels, you've always put forward ideas and suggestions on how we can make the ecosystem better and how we can improve it, or you should have done this, or you should try this. Again, it's supposed to be a more open type of environment. And we've said since day one, if you leave or if you start with an open field and just say to everybody, go build, we see what happens. People mine it for all it's worth and they don't actually end up doing anything. Our job was to get the ball rolling, to get the platform set up, to get the tools in place, and then to say, right, and as I've said since day one, we will never build the best of anything. Our job is to provide a showcase of what our tools and our platform can do, and then it's up to the community to come in and say, all right, I can do better than you, get out of my way, I know what to do here and I know how to do it better. And you are going to get that chance very, very soon.
All right, next one we have from Hamford. Will it be possible to live stream video in a shop in the vault? Example, play a movie, live stream someone's feed from Discord or webcam, etc.
Normally Luke would answer that. Red Pill, do you want to have a stab at that one?
Streaming is definitely possible. What we're doing right now is also adding more options for web views in districts themselves. So one example is the DJ area. What we want to do is in the background, we want to put a big screen. You can also change as a district owner the size and the location where you can then stream in. And it will work through platforms like Twitch or YouTube, any of those platforms where you have a link basically that you can add to your district, and then it will live stream in the vault. One application could also be, for example, if we have a DJ event and we actually have a live stream of that DJ playing, we can then stream that into that space. But obviously there are a lot of other applications as well. So it's definitely something we'll add.
I've got one more question here, and that is appreciate the transparency and candidness in which the team answers questions. Can you please give me your honest opinion on what you think major exchange listings would do for the project? From my personal opinion, and that's all I can give, if you get onto Binance still, and still seems to be the one, that seems to be the one that gives you the kind of exposure that you would want. Whether or not it actually benefits your token or not is questionable, because there's probably many cases that you could argue both ways. Ultimately, I think getting the exposure to an audience like that and the most known audience is obviously pretty good. As far as the other ones are concerned, we obviously had always had the opinion that you're best to spend your money on building and all the rest of it, and it's important when you're trying to transition towards growth and expansion to get more exposure. So it is something that we always look into. But for those of you who are aware, there's a lot of work that goes into running the listings as well. Most of them, for those of you who don't know, most of them charge a fairly large fee, but it's not so much the fee, it's more about the deposits, the market makers, the continual request to provide inventory and dollars or the equivalent. They're extremely time consuming to keep a track of. They all require you to have certain volume levels to remain listed, which generally requires spending more on market makers. So there is a lot of downside unless it's an exchange that's going to get you a wider and much bigger user base and audience. And we've seen some of what we previously thought were top exchanges don't really have a lot of users. It's a lot of bots and a lot of market makers. So I think it's a very tricky question to ask, which is why I hesitated at the beginning. I think ultimately, for my mind, Binance is still an exchange that gets you huge exposure. Whether or not it helps the project in any way, shape, or form, I think that one probably does. Some of the others are questionable, but it is something that we are focused on, and it's something that we are always looking to do. We're in talks continually with different groups, and now as we're trying to ramp up or transition towards growth and expansion, this is something that we're revisiting again now as far as what forms of marketing, listings, collaborations, partnerships that we could do. As another thing that people have asked us a lot about is why don't you use more influencers? We've been down that path. We were pretty light on the number of influencers we used. I think we all know what happened. For those of you who are around, you don't know what projects, influencers, or anybody that you're dealing with is going to go through or do, or how they're going to act. And I've just seen a few projects go on pretty heavy influencer campaigns, and for a couple of those, there was a huge backlash now that they were pumping and dumping their project and all the rest of it. So we've always tried to be fairly level-headed and just try and work on building a quality platform and a good product. But we also understand the game, and we understand that if we want to grow and get attention, that we have to sort of revisit what our options are, and that's something that we're doing now as far as how to get the word out, how to get a wider audience, and with a few of the things that we've got coming up, that's going to happen by virtue. So we need to make sure that we have as good a experience as we can. We don't want to necessarily affiliate or associate with dubious characters, but on the same token, if we can get wider adoption and we can get more people to know about the project, then it's something that we have to consider. So I know that's a very diplomatic and ambiguous answer, but if any of you have ever dealt with this type of stuff before, it's not easy, and it's not. A lot of what you do is just down the drain, doesn't actually have any impact. Or I think we've still got people that we collaborated with or tried to work with that still haven't delivered on what they were supposed to do yet. Yeah, it's a tricky space to navigate, but we do the best we possibly can. And again, we are diverting our attention towards growth, education, and expansion. So the announcements that are coming up are very important for us to get right, because we understand that we've got a window, and we've got an opportunity, and we want to make sure that we get that opportunity to land. If it doesn't, then a lot of what we've done is for nothing. So we need to make sure that we really sort of revisit who we can, should, and will work with to try and get the word out. So that's what we're doing now.
All right. I actually have to jump out for a meeting real soon. I think Phil has as well, because we're in the same meeting. But thank you so much for joining. We'll see you guys real soon.
Good luck.
Bye, everybody.
Guys, have an awesome week, and we'll speak to you shortly. Make sure you keep an eye on the social channels.
Cheers, Benny.
Have a
Thanks,
great week,
guys.
guys.
See you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.